for stopping by my channel. Whether this is your first time or you've been here a time or two, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Today's project, we are going to be talking about how you can take acrylic paint and turn it into fabric paint. It's really simple, and specifically we're going to be working on painted hats, but you can use this on a bunch of different fabrics for pretty much an endless amount of projects. So let's get started. For supplies, you're going to need your hats, tote bag, whatever you plan on using, brushes, a paint palette, whatever you want to use. I'm using the Folk Art acrylic paints. And what you're going to need to make this fabric paint that makes it washable is the Folk Art Textile Medium. I am going to link this below if you want to get your hands on it, but you can also find it at the craft stores. On the back, it tells you pretty much how to do everything, but I'm going to give you a couple tips that I like to use when I paint fabric. An optional item is erasable gel pens. I got this 15 set from TikTok shop. I have it listed in my TikTok shop, or this one is from Amazon. I love both of them. Use whatever you want. You don't have to use these, but I'm going to show you why I absolutely love them when I'm painting fabric. So I have one of my erasable gel pens, and I try to match the color of the fabric, but you don't have to because the ink is going to disappear. And I sketch out my design so you're not super committed to a certain style and pattern until you actually start painting. So this has been such a confidence booster because I can sketch out my design first and see if I like it. So I like to start with like circles when I'm doing flowers so that the petals are even. And so that's what I'm doing here. But I actually decided to change my mind and that I didn't want to do this certain design on this hat. So this was a perfect time to show off these erasable gel pens and why I love using them for these types of projects. So I didn't like how it was looking, so I'm just using a regular hair dryer on the highest setting. If you have a heat gun, you can also use that. Or you can take like parchment paper and an iron, and all you have to do is just let it heat up. The ink will disappear after the temperature gets so warm. Now, it does say that the ink will show back up in really cold temperatures. So, say you accidentally erase something, I guess you could try putting your item in the freezer if you really want. Most of the time, you're not going to have your projects in a condition that's that cold, so I find it useful. Now, I wanted to show you in real time how long it takes because it does take a little bit to get it going, especially with a hair dryer. Now, if you have a heat gun, just be mindful that it can get very, very hot and you don't want to warp your project. And honestly, you can use an iron too with hats. You know, it's up to you on what you decide. But you can see that the ink is disappearing. Now, sometimes it will start coming back, and that just means you have to hold it there for a little bit longer. I didn't hold it here for as long as I typically like to, but I normally wait 10 seconds once it starts disappearing because you'll see it's slowly starting to show up again. But that's not a huge deal because I'm going to sketch out my new design. And I decided I wanted to keep this one kind of simple and have these cute little daisy flowers all over it. And now we're going to just fast forward and speed through the rest of this. I do keep the cardboard insert into my hats while I'm painting if they are a new hat. If it's an old hat that you're trying to spruce up, you can put, some cardboard in there, or you can take an old towel to kind of give it a shape so it's easier to draw on and paint on. Now here are all the hats I'm going to be working on today. I do sell these on my Etsy shop, my Willow Star Market. So if you guys want to buy one instead, you can go check that out. Grab your textile medium and shake it up really well before you mix it with your paint. And per the instructions, you are going to mix 1 part paint with 2 parts of the textile medium. I got my little palette and I put my paint in first. I think it's easier because sometimes the paint comes out a lot more or a little compared to what you want, where the textile medium is really runny. So it's a lot easier to control how much you're putting in there. Now, you don't have to be super accurate. You will learn over time, if you do this a lot, that it's pretty easy to tell if you have enough of the textile medium mixed in with your paint, because it'll be a lot runnier. And this just makes the paint more flexible for it to be on fabric. And once I finish putting all of my paint and my textile medium in, I take these little makeup spatula things. I have them listed in my Amazon shop, but you can just use a brush too. I like using these because I feel like a lot of the product isn't getting stuck in the brush and they're easy to clean. I reuse them for resin projects. Honestly, I use them a lot more for a lot of different things than I ever would have expected. Now, this might go without saying, but you need to make sure you mix your paint and your textile medium thoroughly. You'll be able to tell the paint will be a lot thicker than the medium, like I said before, and you'll see a color change. You can't really see it with the white because the textile medium is white, but when I use the orange, it will show up a lot more orange. The textile medium will make it a little bit lighter, but for the most part, it keeps it true to its color. I did mix a couple different colors because I didn't want a super bright orange, so that's why this is a little bit lighter than the color you see in the top right. And now it's time to start painting. It's really as simple as that. If you guys want more painting tutorials on different styles of painting and how to paint certain things, I mean, consider myself very much a novice, but I love painting flowers and trying out different techniques. So if you guys want more videos like that, let me know. But we are just going to go in and paint this little daisy. Keep in mind, you'll probably have to do at least 2 coats of your base paint. So I'm not going to add the details to this until I get all of the back part of the flower painted, and then I go over it with a second coat. The textile medium really kind of liquefies your paint, so it's not going to be as opaque as you normally would have your paint be. So you're going to let that dry or use a hair dryer to speed it up. I just let it air dry because I'm going to work on this hat. I wanted to give you guys the tip, if you are using a darker or a bolder color like this bright magenta pink or like a black, I do suggest doing a white base coat first, sometimes even 2. Your colors will show up so much brighter if you do white and then paint your colors on, just because otherwise the colors get sucked into the hat color and you kind of lose that vibrancy. And that's what it looks like. Gonna let that one dry and go back to our yellow daisy hat. I'm going in with my second coat like I told you guys I would. And you can see the white is just so much brighter on the second coat. It really pops. Now, if you don't want that look, if you want it to blend in a little bit more, that's awesome. Do what makes you happy and sparks a little joy in your life. I like to use the end of my brush for the little dots in the center. And once that's all finished up, I'm taking my hair dryer again. Oop, got away from me there. And this is where I'm really going to spend a long time making sure that I'm getting rid of all of those erasable gel pen lines. And it's kind of nice because it does dry the paint a little bit faster, so you can let it sit. Also, per the instructions on the bottle, is that you should let your paint air dry for 24 hours and then heat set. So now we are going to take parchment paper and an iron and just heat set it. I use it on the lowest setting for my little handheld iron here, and I hold it for about 10 seconds. Now, depending on your fabric that you're using, say you're painting on a cotton tote bag, then I would heat set it for cotton. So set your iron to the cotton setting or whatever iron you're using that you typically use for that, just because it's really more fabric based than it is for the paint. Also, if you have any of the erasable gel pen lines left, this will get rid of it. So, win-win. Now, here are all the hats that I have painted. Please let me know which one's your favorite because I just want to know what your style is and what you thought was cute. Also, if you plan on doing this project, please, please, please tag me on any and all socials. Let me know what you plan on painting. But most of all, guys, I just want to thank you for being here and watching it all the way to the end. You are absolutely awesome, and I hope to see you next time.